There we go.
The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of the never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now, there are many. Because soon, there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wow, what a show today. And guess what? Episode 200 today. Episode 200. We've been doing this for years.
Does not
I
feel like
haven't
that
been
much
on the
time has
show
passed.
I know,
Does it?
amazing.
Yeah.
And Joe is not here to celebrate with us, but wherever you are, Joe, hope you're listening. Safe travels, my friend. And
Since he's not here and this is the 200th episode, we should just troll him.
oh yeah,
The
yeah.
whole
I'm pretty sure
episode.
he's down looking for John, though.
Oh, you
He
know,
might
could
be.
be. He could be.
Yeah.
He might, yeah.
I know we sent 800 Russians through a pipeline. We sucked out all the gas, and pumped in oxygen and sent 800 Russians into that pipeline tube in Ukraine looking for him.
That's
and they
that's
didn't
where you
come up
screwed up. Should have sent the red heifers.
Yeah.
yeah. But I am the host today, the hostess with the mostest. I am, aka William, and I'm also
Caesar.
the emperor and Caesar of the Den.Dao, as well as Den.Social, and self-proclaimed emperor of all social media. So hear ye. We also have down below, we have Greg from Rivet. Welcome to the show. Thanks, Greg.
Glad to be here as always.
Let's see. Right here, we have Andrew Joseph, and down there, we got Zach Kaiser from the Legacy Right. So today, this
awesome.
is our panel of blockchain experts here to answer questions on behalf of the community and all of those who submit them.
You said blockchain experts.
Yes.
It doesn't take interesting fact though, right? As a blockchain enthusiast, somebody who pays attention for a week probably qualifies as a journeyman expert because it's so new.
No kidding.
Right? Like when you think about how new it is, right? Like because I now, after reading Roger Ver, can no longer think of gold or Bitcoin as digital gold. Like there's just no way that that's going to be in my lexicon anymore. You have to start thinking about it differently. You can't think about it in terms of, well, how long has this asset been around? You have to think about it in terms of how long has this technology been around? It's as new as the internet was 15 years ago, or actually
its dominance
is now.
Its dominance is constantly declining.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, despite the idiocracy that's happening in the world today with society, if you watch the show, I would say maybe 3 or 4 consecutive weeks, you two would probably be high up on the list as far as knowledge goes and having a solid knowledge base of blockchain by just watching the show every week. Hence 200 episodes. I'm going to keep saying 200.
And another truth about blockchain that you will learn if you decide to stay and watch, right, is the fact that it's a whole of Earth, like technology, society, science, economics, all of it, right? type of system. So if you have any kind of world experience that you have to add to, or that you can add to the conversation, right? Then you are adding value. So you can be an expert in anything else. And if you learn a little bit about blockchain, you can come to a unique perspective that makes you an especially valuable expert. It's just so new, right? There's so few people involved that your personal expertise can mingle with it and make you a unique voice. So I wasn't even teasing when I said Andrew and Zach are blockchain experts. I don't think I am was either. So
Agreed. I agree. Well, let's cover a couple of updates and get the other show, shall we say, things out of the way so we can get into today's episode, which is life cycles of a blockchain project, which includes reincarnating a blockchain project or rebranding a blockchain project. But before we do that, last week's show was blockchain discuss. Our discussion was about the new SEC chair and crypto czar in the U.S. And the panel of experts answered questions regarding that topic and theme, and even thinking forward for the next 3 to 4 years as this administration continues down the road of managing, if you will, the blockchain world or blockchain space in America and setting the tone for the world. But last week's show, those who each host from last week's show received 266 lot.
wow, it's a good one.
Each topic contributor from last week received 83 lot. Lot, by the way, is layer ownership token, and that allows you to have perpetual passive income and free edits on the show, as well as governance votes. So you can propose changes to the show's format by just contributing. So there you go.
And
last
lot
week
also earns you a proportional share of matter, which is the economic benefit. That's how you get the passive income, right? When people post things of value in the layer, that's actually what you generate, and is distributed to you based on your ownership percentage. So
that's right.
For what it's
So
worth.
get involved in the show and earn crypto along the way. By the way, last week's show was nominated by I Am for I Am.
Always.
Of course.
And the Mighty Emperor received 83 lot for that suggestion that passed a vote. Which brings us to governance votes. I'm going to bring this to the screen here, if I can find the right one. There it is. We have a decision to make, gentlemen. And for those watching who have lot, we need to pick the April themes. The top 4 will be selected. As a reminder, the hosts have the option of calling an audible for any given episode to discuss topics in a more timely manner. So, Moldarity in blockchain received 1 vote so far. St. Patty's Day, which cryptos are green? No votes. It didn't pass in February for the March episode, and so now is it going to stick around for 11 more months?
We're saving that one for Christmas this year.
Yeah, there you go. Blockchain plus quantum computing. This is another one, freestyle blockchain content. So we talk about anything as long as it's blockchain. May 22nd. This will be next month. For April, April we'll vote for May's theme. Gee, wonder who proposed this one. May 22nd, Bitcoin Pizza Day. Bitcoin and blockchain State of the Union. Campaigns accepting crypto donations that are public.
That's kind of cool that the pizza day. Everybody choose that. I want pizza for my birthday.
Oh, is your birthday the 22nd?
It's the 17th, but close enough.
Close enough. Oh, you doxed yourself. All right, we've got 1 vote here with 12.8%. Ooh, someone's dominating. What if blockchain became a religion or a cult? What are its holy rules and commandments?
It's like basically Discordian, but immutable.
Yeah,
it kind of already is a religion.
It is kind of, but maybe it needs to be made official with a blockchain, project and a cult and
Yeah,
then get a 501c3 filing, and so then members of the cult could be making donations to the religion and tax.
True. You know,
I heard a beep.
uh,
I heard a beep. Drum roll, please. Adding to the 200th show, we have none other but Satoshi Sean,
hell
everyone's
yes,
friend.
What are you guys starting on time
man.
for? That's just rude.
right? I know it's
that
terrible.
is rude. Starting on
We're-
time.
We're 10 minutes in and it's 10:18. Welcome. Good morning, Sean. Can you believe it? Today is episode number 200.
No, I thought we were a couple away.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you could join us, my friend.
Good to be here.
We're talking about next week's votes. Wallet security and quantum computing age. We got one vote there. And blockchain meets Main Street with tokenized assets. How government
Oh, I
can
like
use
that.
blockchain to manage tariffs. We got
I
one
just
vote there.
committed a vote, so yeah.
Oh, did you? Current news topic with blockchain solutions.
That's a good one.
Steve, I like this theme. I really do. I like the idea where we talk about current events and then
How blockchain fix it.
in the topic with the blockchain solution and stable coin surge.
I like
All
talking
right,
about how quantum computing, the
stablecoin
wallet one,
surge.
how did quantum computing 30 years from now go to 3? That was, I
Stablecoin
remember when
surge sounds like
it was like, oh, it's so far away.
Yeah.
right.
Well, Joe is on vacation this week and visiting family, so he's not joining us. Maybe he's joining us on the airways. And Joe, because you're not
on
here,
vacation, but he he might not be able to because I sent him a couple texts and they came back undeliverable. So I don't know if he's I don't know if he's vacationing somewhere that's like seriously off the grid.
well,
He might
maybe he's on a dude ranch herding up red heifers.
Could be.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can make a gay joke about a dude ranch, but I won't. I'll let you
I
have your
was
red
just gonna
heifer
make a,
fun, man. Jeez. By the way,
I was gonna
we're,
make a
we're
joke
all
about that dude from
joining each other over the airwaves.
What exactly is a dude ranch, and why do they call it a dude ranch? It does.
It's
sound
like a
kinda
place
It's
where
a
you can go
Brokeback
pretend to be a
Mountain
cowboy.
theme, right?
No, it's like
Wanna
what was
be
that
a
movie with
cowboy.
there was like a movie.
City
Yeah,
Slickers.
City Slickers.
Yeah.
Right. Who was in
City
that?
Slickers, yeah.
Billy
Joe's the
Crystal
City
and
Old Curly.
Yeah.
there's like 3
Old
people, but he's all I can remember.
Yeah. Surprise!
I think there was-
spoiler alert. By the way, he had a twin brother in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean,
He played himself
you missed
twice.
You missed one. As emperor, I got on the phone and I called Putin and I told him to send 800 soldiers down a pipeline, pump out the gas, pump in oxygen, send 800 soldiers down a pipeline to try to find John.
And
But
then
he went the wrong pipeline. He
Yeah.
went in a pipeline in
Hear you.
Ukraine and not in New York.
Did it wind up
They
in
invaded
Germany?
the wrong.
Yeah.
They wound up invading the wrong country.
Well, anyway, everyone, please make your votes be heard. Vote for the themes for next month. All right.
Hurry, step right up.
Yeah.
I got to
All
go
right.
back a couple episodes and see where I was prophetic as shit, and talked about how the craziest thing could happen, and that's what's happening. It's like, America could actually leave NATO, join with Russia, end the war. Blah blah. It was like, that's insane, but it could. And I literally saw news articles like, this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. You're the you know why? It's because Alex Jones is probably your neighbor, Sean, and you both live in Texas and you're raising those red heifers and you're getting, woo-woo brain waves from those red heifers into your brain and you're able to predict the future. It's red heifer crystal ball reading.
You know, it would be really interesting if Hamas said part of that's one of the things. We'll end the whole thing. We'll give up leadership of God, everything, but we got to kill these cows. Just do it all publicly too, and see what happens. See what happens.
I mean,
Have you guys ever played this total segue here? Have you guys ever played the driving like sort of long car trip game of Those Are My Cows?
No, not
No,
those
but
are my cows. We just always play the license plate game or
When
I played
the
horse
company
poker.
when the company takes road trips, like when Rivet goes to East Denver, for instance, the
Uh-huh.
whole way, me and my two co-founders are like scanning the horizon looking for cows, and if we see them first, we call out, "Those are my cows," and you build your herd. But if you see a graveyard along the way, then somebody shouts out, whoever shouts out, "Who I killed your cows." That person kills everybody
Oh,
else's cows, and whoever has the most cows at the end wins.
oh,
this
that's
sounds
pretty cool.
this sounds eerily like a ripoff of horse poker. You see certain horses, there's certain number of points. I think like a white horse, like a painted horse is like plus 15 or something. White horse is like extremely rare, I guess. So it's like 25. You see a donkey, you win the game. Yeah, you see a unicorn, you definitely win the game. But you see a graveyard, it's negative 25. So
Oh, wow.
if it's on your side of the car, you don't want graveyards.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yep.
We just used to hold our breath when we went by graveyards, or else we breathe in the dead people.
Oh my gosh.
I still
Wow.
do.
I thought
Wow.
everyone did that. That was
All these superstitions.
as a kid.
Well, I mean, they are probably effervescing a bit.
They're like, yeah, it's in the air. You gotta hold your breath.
All right. Well, we're about ready to start today's topic, which is blockchain project life cycles and project reincarnation or rebranding. But before we do, a quick shout out to Joe if you're listening. This is a 200th episode, buddy, and you're missing it. Yep. Just kind of rub that in, right there. You see this? 200. That's amazing. No, shout out to all the 199 before, and to give this a solid base and foundation. Huh?
Yep. Here's to the next 200.
There you go. There you
Mhm.
go. All right. Just a few short for what? 4 years?
Yep.
4 year long show?
Just about.
Just about. All right. Now the other thing is, since Joe is not here, I don't have that timer. And we have the rule of the rule is if there's more than 4 people, there's a 1 minute timer on your answer.
I got it. Hold on just a second. It
Rock
wasn't
God,
one that
he has it.
well, the one I hooked up for I'll send it to you in the group chat. Hold on a second on Telegram.
That's not going to work. It's going to have some kind of
Did you pay for it?
stop at 20 seconds and say, okay, now here's a commercial.
No, go ahead and download and look at it. You'll see what I'm talking about.
All right. Let me
Take
take
this
a
a
look.
second.
Oh my
it's
God.
legit.
You're going to have me download a virus. I know what you're doing now. You're trying to steal my crypto.
Right.
Hey, but you're
Wait, this isn't
you're surely not
MetaMask.
using your machine for
That's-
for streaming linked to your actual wallet, though.
Yeah. No. No. All right, hang on. Let
I know
me
it's
see
it's ugly, but it was the first thing I could put together. And then
Yeah,
Joe had told me
see
he'd
what-
already set one up. So
Yep. Pro tip: don't install your wallet on your daily driver,
Yeah.
not your main wallet.
Yeah.
These are good crypto security tips because all you have to do to interact with the blockchain is have enough crypto to pay gas. So do not
If you're on Ethereum.
ever if you
Hey,
if
you don't need to
uh,
worry about that. If
if you
somebody
can
hacks
avoid
your
install your
wallet,
main wallet on
they'll
your
put the
daily driver.
gas in there.
Yeah,
I can
right.
tell you that.
You know what? It's not
And don't use a
showing.
remote node.
The GIF is not showing. It should be right
it
here.
isn't?
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm
We
sorry.
can just somebody can just yell
Yeah.
when it's
Time's up. Or we could,
We need a
'cause Joe's
gong.
not here. Joe's not here. We could just interrupt each other, talk over each other,
Break
and
the
annoy
rules.
him
Yeah.
in his ear.
Break the rules.
Oh, that's true.
Anarchy.
You could just yeah.
Anarchy.
Anarchy.
Total
I
chaos.
was thinking the same thing, Zach. Oh shoot, that's funny. All right.
I'm down with
all right.
whatever you guys wanna
Let's
do.
go into our screen here. Hold on here. There it is. All right. Going to refresh so we get the if the last chance to have your questions in there. There it is. Here's a refresh. Today's blockchain project life cycles and project reincarnation or rebranding, episode 200. And I got a splitting headache, and who knows, man. Hopefully, I can make it through the show. All right, guys.
Let's do it.
First
We'll get
question
there.
from Darox. Darox.
Is that
You know,
SpongeBob? It looks like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
His
Yeah, it
avatar.
does, right?
Yes.
His
Yes.
avatar.
That's
It's a
does.
balloon. It's a balloon of SpongeBob.
it's a balloon SpongeBob.
It looks like SpongeBob's on acid.
So here's his acidic question. Trying to be as early as possible often becomes a victim of scammers who release a token, NFT, or smart contract just to extract money from investors. Trump coin. Do tokens or NFTs from fraudulent projects have any chance of gaining value? Could it turn out that releasing a new token will be more costly than resurrecting a failed project? Wow. I guess we'll start from
one.
the bottom. Sean, what's your thoughts on this question from the great Dayrox?
Well,
60 seconds, please.
Okay. First, it superimposes that a project is fraudulent when most of the time they're really not. If you have a 15-year-old kid putting out a coin, on Solana for like $1.20, and he's like, "This is gonna move," well, it's not really fraudulent. It's a joke. Like a meme. A meme used to be a joke. It was synonymous with a joke, almost like the political cartoons of the New Yorker, but for the common man. That was like what a meme was.
Right.
These are meme coins, and to look at it as it kind of is like the N word. I think what has happened is how that's been taken back by black people. I think that the Beanie Baby comment of Colbert or John Oliver, years and years ago, it's what these are.
Fuck that guy.
They're literal Beanie Babies. It's like, here you go, man. Everyone's like, this is it. This is it. This is one. It's gonna go. This is whatever Beanie Baby is. Going to be $20,000. And everybody buys into it. But that money could arguably be used to, in the long run, resurrect a failed project that was just launched at the wrong time.
Good point. Good point. All right, Greg. Starting the timer.
Here's how I think about it. So here's how I think about this. I try to think about it like venture capital. So when you look at the venture capital business model, what you have are limited partners who put money into an investment fund, right? And then their partners go out and they make bets. They meet the founders. They're like, we have no idea if this is going to work, even if it's a great idea. We don't know about the timing until after the fact. We don't know if it's going to actually succeed. We don't think it's going to be. These guys are bullshitting us, right? And so they take a chunk of that pot and they invest it, and that investment is an expression of their confidence in that thing's ability to succeed. But they place the bets very widely. That's why they have portfolios of 30, 40, 50, maybe even 200 companies, right? You got to think about these tokens that way, right? So if you put as much as you can without hurting yourself, right, by splitting your resources up appropriately and then dividing it across 30, 40, 50, 100 coins, then it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's a scam, because you set out under the presumption that you're probably going to lose it. Now, one of those things making Moon is going to be your big win, and that's how you make your money, right? So spread your money out. When people say don't invest more than you can afford to lose, take that literally and then divide it up among all the coins you intend to invest in. Don't make that evaluation in a vacuum, one at a time. Evaluate the whole umvelt of available coins as something that I could invest in or not, and be sure to divide up what you can afford to spend. Now, quickly, could it turn out that you can resurrect one more cheaply than? Yeah, you can. They exist independently on chain. So long as there's not something exploity in the smart contract, go ahead. pull an old token out of the days of yore. I've got one called Embiggen that Open Relay launched as a joke in 2018. You can still go find it. Not saying that you should go get that one. Please don't. It was a joke. But yeah,
Gotcha.
they can definitely get a new life that has nothing to do with their original life. A meme is only funnier. A meme will only go up in value if it's funnier when it makes a lot of money. So.
Gotcha. Thanks, Greg. You ate up Zach's time, so we're skipping Zach. We're going straight to Andrew.
Aw, no.
Andrew, go ahead.
Well,
asshole.
the
Go
first
ahead,
thing,
Andrew.
the first thing I think of is airdrops, right? And there, right after 2017, there was a lot of airdrops, but they don't always, pull through because this is a new environment, new culture. It depends on how long-term thinking the project is. Like I have what's it called, Eastland. I still have my Eastland from like 2017 when it first launched, and that's that's been converted to a more modern, and you can still trade that in. But if you're thinking about something and you just put it to the side, it's kind of like Michael Malice has got this comic book that he's been working on. He said that he's been kicking around a script for like 12, 15 years. I think it was a comic. And now, he's coming back now he has an audience, and he's gonna make a big scene out of it and try to make it a success.
There you go.
Cool.
Good one. Restarting, Zach, go for it.
No, I think it all comes down to the concept of praxeology. I mean, this is literally human action. Excuse me. In real time, we get to see it. So when you have failed projects here or scams there's always an inevitability of maybe correcting that down the line, somebody else taking over, or whoever failed before tries again down in the future. So it's just a concept of, can we do this? Can we structure this differently? Can we maintain something that's better down the line if it's a failure now? So learning from mistakes, just like the market dictates. And I mean, human interaction upon interaction, trying to figure out what's best for society.
I think I guess
Yeah.
the pushback, because I don't think anyone
Nice Jesus
answered
drop.
what's a scam. You know what I mean? Is the Bradford Exchange a scam? Is Time Life Books a scam?
Dude, a scam
Calling
is a
something a
pejorative.
collectible.
A
has
scam is a
been-
pejorative for a project that failed.
Yeah,
Basically.
I mean,
It can
literally,
be.
dude. Remember all the commercials like that would be on every day when we were kids that were like collectible. Get this collectible. No, my brother, you must buy your own.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's all you did was put the word collectible, and that literally was investment. You know what I mean?
Well,
It was a way around it. It was a little bit. It was shady. It's still they have whole networks now for just the old people. The shopping networks, and the South Park did a great episode on it with the jewelry thing. So it's the same thing. I mean, do you really have Hawk to a girl putting out something and saying, "Hey, my Beanie Baby is going to make you millions of dollars, and you should get it"? It's like,
Maybe.
"Wait, please, let me go mortgage my house." I mean,
Technically, a few people did get rich off that coin.
Yes.
Some people did.
yeah. But in the end, she's selling, commemorative plates. That's literally what she's doing.
Yeah. It's like going to an antique shop and finding like 2005 I don't know, a case set from 2005. It's like, this is an antique for $300. It's like, that's worthless.
Yeah, well, it is. I think it's just become the new thing. Like literally, you go back a few years and you're talking about, unopened Pokemon boxes.
Yeah.
And before that,
mean-
you had carnival glass and the
Right,
figurines.
But who's to say that those things don't have value to the some people that hold them, right? Like,
They did.
Now
It
you're
was
speaking my
like to get a Precious Moments figurine, when I was a kid. And then like my grandparents, they would have like fought over some carnival glass at a garage sale, when I was a kid. And now, it's about rushing in, like they said, to be as early as possible to get the new carnival glass. I think NFTs it's like blockchain and crypto is the invention of glass. And then
carnival glass?
Glass in general.
Like as in
this new
as in, like,
technology that we can do
melted
so
sand.
much with.
True.
And then NFTs have become,
True.
the collectible, that side of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or
But I do-
meme coins
all right.
have become that side of it.
But I do think there is like to double down on Zach's point. I do think there is this extreme element of subjective value that proves sort of proves the Austrian point that value is in the eye of the individuals involved in a trade.
But
Good
yeah,
point.
it proves also Thomas Aquinas' point as well of moral reasoning
Right.
and the concept that human beings are trying to always strive for something good, and we may always falter, or we may even drive towards something that seemingly is bad, but we're always striving for something that's even more virtuous than ourselves.
Right.
Right. So judging the
gentlemen,
rationality of somebody's
time
choice
out.
after the
Mhm.
fact is an exercise in judgment, not in reason.
Your
Yeah.
emperor has not had the opportunity to answer Darroch's
Oh shit,
question.
you haven't yet. Go ahead.
So here we
Yeah,
go.
that's right.
Do tokens or NFTs from fraudulent projects have any chance of gaining value? Never say never. However, I would say that the probability is very low that a project is going to resurrect itself. And it says, and could it turn out that releasing a new token will be more costly than resurrecting a failed project? A failed project really can't be resurrected unless you still control the code. You could invest in it and try to pump up your bags and pump up the value of it, but unless you control the code, new enhancements to that project really can happen. And if there's a DAO or a control mechanism that's in place, that maybe a governance function that would allow for everyone to vote, who has the majority of the votes? How are the votes distributed? Are they distributed by, the actions of the individuals within the community? Are they distributed purely by how many tokens or coins you hold within that community? Who knows? And so it makes it a little bit harder to resurrect a failed project on that behalf. So that's my answer in a short nutshell for Darroch. So let's move on to the next question.
Oh, hold on.
Quick question
Can I
though.
throw in a technical piece there that's worth noting?
No,
No,
we're moving on.
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
There's one caveat there, and it's that most projects are designed to be modular in a pointery sense. So, like, if you have governance that says point to this contract for that function, then essentially you don't have to have access to the old thing. And a lot of projects are designed like that because they use these frameworks that are pre-made. So that is a concern that you should investigate if you're thinking about resurrecting something, but it's not necessarily a fruitless search. You're going to probably find a lot that you can't adapt.
Isn't that also kind of the point of an open source project, that someone or some group can come in and kind of kickstart it again?
But
Well,
it's still
forfeit,
a
at
matter
least.
of commits. Who manages the commits with the new code?
Well, you can
Even though
always
it's open
fork
source,
the code
you can read the
and
code.
take the brand, right? That's the thing.
Say that again, Greg.
You can always fork the code and take the brand, right?
Yes.
So you can,
There was
for
a-
instance, copy their smart contracts over and say, this is the resurrection of this token, except for this tweak.
There was a token. I remember seeing either a Facebook post, like a screenshot, or a 4chan post screenshot called that was talking about somebody had listed a literal token called Ponzi, and it was listed on several exchanges.
Fuck yeah.
People bought it up, and then they rug pulled, and then it went down to one exchange, and then it started getting volume again, and people bought it up, and they rug pulled again.
Yeah, I bring
the
up this
FOMO
kid.
is insane.
I bring up this
Right.
kid
So-
that ripped people off many times, because I think it's like such a great story. But then the people Like he rug pulled and his coins are worth like 50 grand. He's like, fuck you, flicks everyone off. Thanks for the 50 grand, morons. And then people bought the coin up again, and his coins would have been worth like 7 million within like 20 hours. So
so he ended up rugging himself.
Yeah, so he ended up rugging himself. So it's hilarious.
So what you're saying is Osho is right. The people are retarded.
I don't know about
not always. I remember seeing a ERC and ERC20 wallet, or a wallet full of ERC20 tokens, and the guy said, I don't think this is dirty. I don't want these tokens. Whoever wants it, you can just send the wallet. There's no password on the wallet. You can take it to send your wallet. It was the wallet. The address was programmed in such a way as that only you could send money in. You couldn't send it out.
Right.
I would so use this as a way to just steal all your information. That's right. And 15-year-old
that's the other
Zach.
thing too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for raising that one, Zach. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's 15-year-old Zach thinking I could use this to boot you off of Yahoo, crack your passwords, but in this case, I'm just going to nuke your entire system and
if you intend
all your information.
If you intend to put in somebody else's 12 words or whatever, right, do that in a clean environment, because those can be honeypots.
Right. Okay, next question for Derox again. Way to go, Derox. By the way, I did not vote. I got a vote on this. Question: do you know what is happening on Luna? There were a lot of developers there and a lot of applications. Everything pointed to success. Does Luna still have a chance? All right, I guess I'm going first on this one. Do I personally know what's happening with Luna? No, I do not. Why? Because I'd stopped following it once it failed. And in my opinion, after I considered it, rest in peace, over and done with, I took that out of my junk, or out of my pile, and put it in the junk pile, and I don't follow the project anymore. I do recall there was, all this hope and hopium, shall we say, that the project was going to reboot or relaunch or build back better, and it never happened. It still hasn't happened. So that's my humble opinion, that those developers have already moved on to work on other projects, and developers are, not a dime a dozen. They're certainly sought after, and the good ones receive a lot of money if a project has it to provide. So I don't think the developers are still there. The last I'd heard anyway, but I could be wrong. So I would give it a slim to none chance, in my opinion, Mr. Derox. How about you, Andrew?
Last I heard about Luna was that the gentleman from South Korea was being brought back to the United States, but I know that there was a lot of talk when the whole Terra USD capitulation happened, that they were going to try to bring it back to parity with the dollar. So I think if you are going to see anything coming out of the Luna chain, it will be if they actually are able to, like the exchanges that kept it listed, if they're actually able to get it close back to parity to the US dollar.
Good point. Zach, the man, you're up.
I'm gonna yield my time because I don't know a whole lot about Luna, so I'm gonna yield my time and pass on this one. Let y'all.
Fair enough.
I have a dog named Luna, just so you know. I'm doxing my dog, and it's not a boxer, and it's not a dachshund, but I'm doxing her. And her name is Luna.
Nice.
All right, Greg.
Okay, so here's what I think about Luna. I think Luna could come back, but I think the biggest barrier is sovereign risk, because right now, the one thing in crypto that is likely on the chopping block is algorithmic stablecoins. Those are going to become verboten very soon. You will not be able to touch them. And there's some projects I think that are very good that are at risk from that too. Like if they came for Reflexor Finance, I'm going to be up in arms with my tortured pitchfork. But because Rye is a great project, but Luna, it could come back, and it probably depends on, oddly enough, you. Like Derox, if you're involved with it already, go find out, man. Like you could push it. You could actually make that thing move again. My suggestion for you is that you try to convince them to reindex to the $1913.
You said 1913. I had to play that for 1913. Sean, everybody's friend. What advice do you have for
Yeah, I
Derek
think
about
you're
Luna?
right about it takes developers when it comes to real projects. If you're just talking about a market cap or valuation, then that's pure hype, pure community, that kind of thing. But as far as like a goal and a project that's a legitimate project that wants to do something, I think 99% of the time when it's dead, it's dead. There's always that one, and I know Greg's going to start screaming, but because just when you say the word, it's like calling the Candyman. But like ETH classic, that's been dead a million times. It's it was just it's literally got shot in the head and then stood back up, and then people keep shooting it in the head, and it keeps coming
It's
back.
like
Even
the big
I think
boy. It
led
never really
like
left.
little runs, and then it's also something kind of special. It's a it sparks the debate of what's real, what's the real ETH, what's blah blah blah. So there always is the unicorn there, but for most most of the time, people just say once it dies, but the real thing is if there's a real project behind it, once the people who were behind it give up and move on, some other people can move in, but it takes the the commitment of the people that were there behind the scenes when it comes to something real.
Yeah. Usually you got to find the original developer and get a handoff if somebody is really important to the project and they leave.
You always got to bring it back as sex, man.
And that's what ETH Classic has always done right, by the way. Just so everybody knows, the reason that they are still alive is because when a developer leaves that project, they don't just leave. They don't just vanish. They hand it off. And they hand it off very publicly so that people know who's in charge of the code.
We
make
saw
eye
that with
contact the
Bitcoin.
whole time.
When Satoshi handed it off to Hal Finney and Gavin Greason and
To himself,
all of them.
yeah.
I made like 19 hand job jokes there. Nobody seems to be laughing. So okay.
Oh, I'm
Giggity,
sorry.
giggity,
Thank you.
giggity, giggity.
Okay, so I think we've answered this, but open up for more discussion. One quick comment, Greg, you mentioned something. Hey, it's up to you if you want to bring it back. Bring some hype along the way, and bump up build a new community around the coin. I used to think about that idea of taking an old project that and is it possible because it had a pretty good utility that still worked but nobody was using it, could you rather than reinvent the wheel, could you go back to the archive, shall we say, and bring that up and create a new community, start pumping your bags, go in early and buy. That was one of the things that Derek said in the last question. Go in and early and buy it and then start pumping it because it has real utility, and then your
Take
efforts
control
are
of the governance
that way if you sold off. That's just one example. Of course, SEC has a problem when you start talking about.
And little known fact about developers, they don't work well without somebody on the non-technical side helping them, because they don't like to do usually a lot of the stuff that you have to do to make a project fly. So if you even just make a voice about having any desire to take that side of it over, you might find interested developers, or you might find that the developers are there working on it, but nobody's publicizing what they're up to. And that's another thing you can do.
And to go to
Sean's a good thing.
Sean made a really good point about the project died over and over, but it keeps coming back. Remember back in the day, the media kept calling Bitcoin dead and over and done with, and it was over and done with. And once it hit 10,000 and started falling back down, it was over and done with. Once it hit 20,000 and started going back down.
Same thing
So
now.
there used to be a website, all the times Bitcoin died, its obituary, or I don't remember what it was called, but
Mhm.
that was popular for a while.
I remember when Jamie Dimon first started getting talking shit about Bitcoin. I seen a screenshot where they literally squeezed it, and no one's supposed to buy Bitcoin, and he starts talking shit about it like on the
Right.
in front of the media. It's during the
I
propaganda to play
one
it
that
up,
buys it, my
play
organization.
it down to play it up for himself.
Yeah, and people talking shit on these projects too sets the stage for a meme, right? Like everybody loves
Yes.
that old comment from that douchebag who used to work for the New York Times as their economics writer,
Oh
whatever
yeah,
his name was. He once said something about the internet being no more revolutionary than the fax machine because what do
Krugman.
people really
Carl
Krugman, what do
Krugman.
people really have to say to
Krugman.
one another was his mindset. He was like, the Metcalfe's law is invalid.
Or that angry guy that used to be the financial guy who's like, I'm buying Enron right now. It's great.
Oh, fuck. You're thinking Kramer. The inverse Kramer
Yeah.
index still beats the
Yeah.
market.
It does.
It does. It does. A quick question though. I maybe more of a comment, but on this, do you think that in order for Luna to maybe make, or a project like Luna to make a comeback, because I know the issue really was like kind of over collateralizing. Do you think that
Right.
maybe they could maybe I don't know how to describe this. Do you think that maybe in order to rectify mistakes from the past, they could resurrect the project by tokenizing it to real world assets far away from the dollar, like maybe
You
Well, the way you
could,
bring
you could,
or
but let me
sports team?
I got
let me
one.
talk it from a marketing standpoint. When a coin like Luna or a company has a real big black eye, you're better off to rebrand it so that
Mm.
you're scuttling all of the bad negative information about the project, because that's just too overwhelming, and you're better off to use that same technology and
If you want to
kind of like
bring
phase.
back Luna, you have
Yeah.
to do it this way. You have to freeze the supply, quantifying. You have to quantize the supply, right? And once you've done
Fractional
that,
reserve.
you can compare it to the amount of capital you actually have backing it, right? How much
Mhm.
collateral there is,
Mhm.
and then buy back in one transaction. And you can do this in the same block if you want to build this into an application. Buy back in one transaction all of people's fractional tokens at their valuation once you've frozen the supply and divided it up, and then in the same breath buy back in the exact number in dollars of collateral, right, of the new token, and then make sure that whatever that new token is already going to have the collateral that you paid them in paid back into its pool.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
then you have a 1-to-1 with the dollar on the collateral, and you can resume the project's floating peg capabilities at that point. So that's how you would do it: is just quantize and buy the new thing and then turn it on.
But you got to be able to control the
Mhm.
code to do that. All right,
Right.
moving on to the next one. Oh, and by the way, before we move on to the next one, and it happens to be written by your emperor, did you know what today is? Today is the 200th episode of World Blockchain Roundtable.
Hell yeah.
It's also the 5-year anniversary of when we decided
15,
to go say that again, Andrew.
15 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah, 15 days when we decided to flatten the curve for another 15 days.
Yep.
Perpetual
Um,
interest.
And in 2
Curve is still
weeks,
not
it'll be the
flattened.
5-year anniversary of the next flatten the curve.
All
The
right,
funniest part
deep
about
thoughts
airborne
of future
viruses is they don't
blockchain.
need carriers.
Two-part question. All right, part one. How do you envision the life cycle of blockchain projects developing over the next 5 years? In other words, what's the political infusion into this in project life cycles? And part two, do you think meme coin projects will evolve in that time? And if so, how?
Good questions.
So it's really two questions in one, but it's basically, will the life cycle of blockchain projects change over the next 5 years? Let's start with you, Andrew.
Well, it just depends on the type of project, right? So we had the ERC-20s in 2017, and then we have NFTs and stuff like that, and that the value of it will cycle. I guess I'm answering both questions at the same time,
Mhm.
and they alternate, right? And then you have Bitcoin as the stabilization of value, comparatively. So if you're going to have a deal in that kind of environment, you have to think long term. Is mine going to be able to survive to the next cycle? And there's always going to be another, market that's going to be introduced, and it's going to constantly evolve and grow. And one of them is going to drop off. So you just got to think about. You got to be sharp and think about what the environment is actually realistically doing that you're working in.
Great point. Great point. Zach.
I think one thing that, in order to see how a life cycle for any project's going to be able to see through for the next 5 years, you're going to have to look to see where Bitcoin is at now, considering that's the comparison, right? And right now, Bitcoin looks to be teetering to do its 2017 fall or its 2020 fall, 2022 fall, but there's an anomaly sitting there right there on the charts, thinking, well, maybe this is the year. Like maybe Bitcoin's gonna actually stabilize, right? So you have to focus in on what Bitcoin's doing and what it's doing to set up for the future of how blockchain projects can easily put themselves over. So as far as like meme coin projects, I think we're starting to see the evolution of meme coins kind of take a gradual change, or a very different change than what they once were. They're not really meme coins per se. Like people are actually jumping into it for like money making, like an actual investment instead of a goof.
Good point.
Yeah.
Nice
the way that
Zach attack on the question. All right, Greg from Rivet.
So
Can
the
you
first point
pivot
I
on
did
this
is
one?
yeah. So the first point I'm going to disagree with Zach on a little bit, and the second point I'm
Mhm.
going to agree with him. The way that blockchain project life cycles work to me are based on developer timelines, which usually run in
Mhm.
2-week sprints, and they usually run on an epicycle that's a particular stage of a project's milestone map, right? So you're trying to get to milestones in 2-week chunks, and that's how all software projects
Mhm.
work. The ones that don't do that tend to not work, right? So I don't think that that's going to change much at all, except for the fact that I think we will see an acceleration in the quantity of projects, because I think the ecosystem, uh, more than scale up, needs to scale out. It needs builders, and if we get more builders in there that know how to build 2-week sprints and engage in a milestone plan process, right, then we will see projects come to
Mhm.
life. And I wouldn't pursue or get into any project that didn't have a milestone plan. As for meme coins, if they set new milestones, God help the world, we can change it. We saw uh, a Doge ripoff, or basically we saw a Doge ripoff of the meme, and now we've got a government agency based on the idea.
Mhm.
These are the power of these ideas done right. A meme coin can change the world. So don't lose that belief if you have it.
Good point. Great points. All right, Sean, everybody's friend. Let's hear your
This is
futuristic viewpoint.
one of your good. That's funny. You're so. It's funny how you do this, man. It's like your questions are very, just like little targeted question, but it's so huge. And I wanted to talk like sci-fi. Sci-fi is such a way that people, Pete Holmes, whatever the comedian, I was watching like a blurb that he was like, "You think you live in America? Zoom out. You live on a rock in this big,
Mhm.
giant ocean, and we're just on this little rock." But like that's one of the things that like science fiction does. It lets us see how silly we are when we're focused on this little thing. And like the Star Trek episode where they like hated each other because the one guy had black on one side of the face, and then like you're the same people.
Oh, that's a good one.
They're like, no, and it's like that kind of thing. So that's just your question. I haven't even got to answering yet. So I think that this 2 parts. I think that for me, whenever you first get into learn about what Bitcoin is and get into you learn what money is. When people learn how the financial system works, that's one thing. But just what money always has been and what it is. And that's just something of value. It's like literally everything around you is money. I can find a bag of cocaine and it's just a scary bad thing. But to so many people, that's literally money.
That's
That's
money.
like me
A
finding
huge chunk of
gold.
people in this country who live with packs of ramen as money. Honestly.
Yeah,
That
or
every single prison.
That's like
right?
it's literally
money.
people look at that, and it's the same as finding gold or silver or something like that.
Right.
I think meme coins have become that. I think that when you look at how like blockchain is this technology, and when you step back, it's like literally, how do you think the development of roads is gonna be affect things in the next 5 to 20 years? And then when you look at meme coins, it's literally this is people waking up to what money is. It's like, I think this has value. Well, I think it has value. I think it's more valuable. I'm going to pay more for it. Well, now hold on. I'm going to pay more. So that makes it even more valuable. There's been so many times where it's like someone will bring something up that this product is so much better, but it's like, half the cost. And because people just don't use it for whatever reason. That's what money is. And I think that's one of the things that meme coins really do put just a laser focus on, is because they're transferable. You can move them around, you can use them for whatever, and that's what money was supposed to be for. And then the blockchain itself, like I said, that's just this huge technology, and what it can be used for so many things. The roads can be used for barbarians to get to your town easier, to kill you and to rape your family, or it can be used for trading and to help your town grow. So you can, we could put voting on a blockchain, we could do other things, or we could, track everybody and what they're doing. So it's such a grand question when you look at just the different paths that, you could go down.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Now, as the Emperor, I'm going to go last in answering this question again. I'm last. I'll be first on the next one. How's that? What we didn't consider, and I didn't hear anyone talk about, was AI. Now, AI is starting to write code, and AI is going to speed up the code writing. Right now, it's hit and miss. When it might lay a good foundation, but then the developer's got to come back in and fix a bunch of shit. So that's what AI is doing for us right now. So that actually AI might be able to speed up the cycles of a blockchain. And when I say, and Greg, you mentioned that the developers, really, the cycle of blockchain has a lot to do with the developer. But part of that cycle is also developing the community, expanding the buzz and the buy-in and the reason for the utility. So AI plugging into it over the next 5 years, I think we're going to see life cycle, or the cycles of a blockchain project become more compressed and quicker. Now, here's a sci-fi idea that Sean inspired me to say, is that imagine AI going out there and says, man, I got to generate some revenue, thinking I got to generate revenue so I can protect myself or stay afloat, or they don't unplug me or whatever. Imagine if AI started going out and writing code to create meme coins, and then jumping with bots into various social media platforms, pumping the bags of this AI generated meme coin to then do a rug pull to pay for its own electricity to stay afloat or something like that. Sounds like a science fiction movie.
Well, here's another interesting.
You care if I share this? Speaking of coding and AI, I got something to share.
All right, and then Greg, go for it.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean you can talk, Greg.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'm
the
just showing
idea.
it. Do you want to put it on the screen?
I kind of want to see what
William?
I'd rather see what you have and then think about my thing later.
See, add to stage. How come it's not? I got to remove this one first. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I recalled
There-
it. Okay, here's what it was. Real quick. The idea would be the same thing you're talking about, meme coin to from a bot, but it would be to another bot. What if you had an entire meme coin economy running between different AIs that just
Yes.
never touched a human? What would
Right.
happen? What would they use it for? I think that would be an interesting use of tokens.
Oh,
Computers talking to computers.
it'd
I'm
be the
having a hard
40
time
AI
seeing that.
version.
What is this, Zach? What are we looking at, Zach?
I literally just typed in "code me for blockchain called Legacy," and this is what it gave me.
Oh,
So like AI has the potential to help you code. That's basically
does,
all I
definitely.
wanted to. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
it
Yeah,
really does.
This is what I was saying, and
It's
then
been a game
so
changer
then
for us.
the developer gets this and now goes in and fixes it and changes the comments or
Even
adds
more like
section.
imagine you're a developer and you have an idea for a program that would be really useful if you had it right now, but you didn't think you needed it until you're already working on this thing that has a deadline.
Hmm.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You can bust that little tool out with AI in 5 seconds. We have tons
Yep.
of those
Oh,
little
yeah.
guys running around.
Speaking
Just
of
like
AI
creation.
and the broader picture, I don't know if you know this, but this has recently happened, like in the past couple weeks, or maybe week. Certain Hollywood celebrities who really have been vocal about their hatred for one side of the aisle, especially the president, have now come to him begging for help against AI because they can see the writing on the wall that literally within the next 3 to 5 years, going back to the next question, they're obsolete. Maybe for writing, for stories and writing, the humans are still important. When it comes to actors and all of those celebrities that we just valued so much, they can be replaced very easily by a high quality AI, and they know that, so they want the government to push back, and they're literally going hat in hand, like, we're sorry. I read a couple articles on that. So AI is going to be a big change. It's like when Facebook came out and I could, program my own page. I was like, I'm a big hacker. Or when I could kick somebody off AOL, using a bot or something like that, I thought I was like, some super hacker. There's just from the trading aspect of things, you can go in TradingView and utilize like ChatGPT or other AIs, and it'll write you what you used to have to pay someone sometimes $500,000 to do, to write a trading bot, or write a trading algorithm, and you just copy and paste it in, and then you can double check it, and even it's easy to fix. You can just go back in and go back to the AI and say, hey, can you fix these aspects of it or these few lines, and it fixes it right away. So I think AI is going to be a huge part of it.
Oh, good.
Another
Good.
thing,
Yeah.
another
Go
thing
for
to
it.
think about is if we keep pumping out these meme coins, right? It's going to be harder and harder for the market to lift up the value across the board. Top 10 coins, right?
Mhm.
And then you have people that historically have burnt tokens and different crypto assets and sent it to the memory hole. But then you have stuff like confidential layer, right? And they could turn that as another way to burn tokens, and so that kind of equals out the bullshit crypto meme coins versus something that's actually worthwhile, and it actually gives some value to whatever people are investing in, because it's harder and harder to get a hold of them.
And to Sean's point with AI's potential in making celebrity obsolete, as far as like movies and film and TV and all that, they've already kind of become a little bit more obsolete as video games have gotten a little bit more evolved. Like I remember when Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game changer because now every game wants to be just like Red Dead 2, which they fail, in my opinion. But you don't necessarily we're getting into a scenario where like you don't need the human element for real time actual movies. You can have actors that they got to say a few words. There's a script, but you put on the suit and then you create your environment, and then it's getting all the legacy actors like pushed out of the way. So and starting a whole new genre.
I think, like to your point,
Well,
to kind of double up
there's
on
also
it, we went through that evolution in the early 2000s where CGI wasn't great.
Yep.
That's where we're at right now. It's like, but it was okay, and it was still blowing your mind. And then from the creative aspect, like George Lucas and other people are like, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't at the time. Now the technology has evolved to where I can do what I wanted to do. And I think that's where we're at when it comes to this kind of technology. We're just, at the stage where, hey, we can do it. But a few years from now, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. You're not going to know.
Right.
And that's what's cool about like motion cap, like how it's evolved, like visual motion cap. You can have actual actors put on the suit, be a character, and then you can go, and then the other human element, and then you could use AI for this too with human help as well. But you can change and alter the person to fit the character and what they're supposed to look like, but it's still the person.
You guys need to see this too, okay? I got to share this, and we got to play this video that I just linked in. I don't have a powerful enough computer to do it, so I need somebody else to share this one.
If can you share it in the private chat?
I did.
It's in the private chat.
Oh, it's in the private chat.
It is in the private
chat. There it is.
So this is one thing that AI can do that most people don't think AI can do because it's kind of counterintuitive. But in this video, you're about to see an AI overlay filter that is in real time modifying the way that a video game is displayed to make the game appear more realistic based on training data from actual city drives. And it makes, like, you'll just see, like, you won't fucking believe this shit. It's fucking
You
amazing.
ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
This is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta mute it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. Okay.
Go for it.
So we're just gonna look at the screen itself, all developed by AI.
Yeah,
Wow.
AI is making this look photorealistic in real time.
Wow.
Wow, I'll say. Much different than what it used to be, right?
And this is
Actually, go ahead. I'll comment after.
The idea of this too gets more powerful when you talk about the real-time generation of 3D environments for virtual realities.
That water.
Because it can actually specifically tune to your view using some techniques they already use in AI to make graphics better for cheaper. But like, it's not going to be too long before we can use AI to make, like, for lack of a better word, an infinity engine, something that can just take you wherever you imagine, and it will feel real.
Also, to talk about a social thing, which people don't, and I don't, and that's the thing. I don't get it, and I don't think I'll ever get it. I don't know if most of us here are going to get it, but the way of thinking has changed. You brought up Red Dead Redemption. Video games have changed the way of thinking of a generation or two. I don't know if y'all ever played Last of Us or you even know about Last of Us. So it was the first video game that I ever played that I cared about and I got emotionally involved in to a level where I cried. I was super pissed off. It was like a really good movie, not like a movie, but like a really good movie.
It was.
I was mad about the ending. I was pissed off about how it was. Anyway, then HBO made a series about it, and I was so excited because I was like talking to my kids, and it's like, yeah, they're making, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, yeah, now it's going to be real, and they were like, what are you talking about? Yeah, the video game. I was like, yeah, but this is going to be a show. It's going to be real. Pedro Pascal, and they're going to but it's the same thing.
So now tell me how
No,
much you think
no,
an
it's a
NFT
series.
car
This
is going
is
to be worth looking at this
now it's a
someday.
real
It's the
thing.
only
It's
way
like
you
an
can
entertainment.
generate
It's
it.
going to be, a bunch of episodes, and they're like, it's just the game, but it's a series. And I was like, yeah, that makes it like real. Like, no, it was already real. It was kind of more real because you were interacting with it. I'm like, it wasn't more real. This is real. And it was this total disconnect to where we don't really need a TV series because you have the game.
No.
So, and I could see their point. I thought they were wrong. Like, no, now it's real. This is just a video game. They're like, yeah, this is like, to me, it was like, this is just a video game. This is a show. They were like, yeah, this is just a show. That's a video game. It was a total flip. And like, but money wise, when it comes to Hollywood movies and music together, don't make as much as video games now. So the way of thinking, the trend and the way of thinking has completely changed to this.
Yes.
Virtual interaction. This is what is real, not celebrity. Not so it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, they made like fake pop stars and stuff, and that was like some people were angry because it wasn't a real person that they were listening to. So they're like, oh, that person really didn't get, broke up with their boyfriend. It's not real. But now it's not. There's no difference. I think we're going to get to the point where people don't even care because a person couldn't have as an exciting life as a fake pop star.
Right. To put it another way, everything is computer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get lost in this world. It's going to be we're programming our own matrix within a matrix.
Yeah. But think about what happens when this isn't just overlays on this code. What happens at the machine layer, right? It's generating a reality you can imagine at any point in the future, right? There will be no code required to visit a virtual world. You just have to have the imagination for it. I mean, unless you've got some imagination that you've hooked to an NFT, and then you can sell it.
There's a couple different. Let me lay this out in a different direction. First, the video game marketplace right now is kind of in a stagnant place because it's so expensive to create video games that by the time they get like 75% of the project, it's become socially unpopular, or there's a shift in political narrative, and they can't afford to release it, so they lose a lot of money. And so that's putting us in kind of in a video game bear market, I guess you put it that way.
Yeah.
And so the AI stuff is going to definitely help, but at the same time, it's about if they can get to it long enough. The second thing is, there's been a couple of different I'm sorry, I'm a big geek. Different like pitches about virtualization and stuff like that, and different cartoons and animes. And one of them I remember is, I'm a big fan of Detective Conan. It's called The Phantom of Baker Street, and there's this kid back in the '90s in the show, and he's programming like a pod that you get involved in, and it was supposed to be just artificial, but if you lose in the game, you die. That's a pitch, right? For something that people like, oh, that'll happen in the future, but it won't really happen. It's going to get to the point that will happen, and you'll find that there will be black markets of these people who are playing this sort of thing in order, to get the thrill out of, oh, did I survive or not?
Right. To attach attach stakes to the moment, right?
Yeah.
Time out, everybody. Time out. Guess what? I owe an apology to Joe. So if you're listening, and you're in you got reception in the tunnels of New York or wherever you are, guess what? He did have this already here. I didn't see it.
Ah, nice.
Wow.
Okay.
Way to go, Joe.
My
bad.
Is this just the next thing when it comes to? I think because I'm as y'all are talking, and you're talking about GTA. I have a cousin who's not going to see this, so I'll talk about her. She deals with depression throughout the years, and people in general have dealt with it in different ways. Beer and TV, beer and movies you could own, DVD,
Dark
VHS,
cave dwelling permanently.
But Netflix, and then virtual worlds like Second Place and stuff like that. Now she's super into Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, Grand Theft Auto, it's like a whole world, and like she talks about it like it's real. And I think this is just you've got a ton of more people are depressed and on drugs and everything else.
Difficult
in
to
the-
separate them.
Well, there was.
selves
in
Do
the
from
you guys
50s,
remember
in the
the
50s,
Pandora movie?
people were
Pandora,
on, getting prescribed,
syndrome.
booze and drugs. Then there was like psychedelics, and there was all these steps throughout history. Whatever the thing was that people used to deal with the shittiness of life, and now we've gotten to this thing where you can actually have another life tailored. It's actually kind of improved so much that
Yeah.
you can just like
Yes.
kind of sit back and for going back to like sci-fi stuff.
Old
Right.
movie,
I mean-
Total Recall. That's what it is.
It's like,
Remember-
like what we call
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Yep.
We watched a
That was
movie
like the
for
whole
family
premise.
night last night, Electric State, and
Yeah.
people just live in this kind of other reality where like the headsets they have like bruises and like sores because they just live there in the headset.
All right,
I don't
gentlemen,
wanna
this
get
is
Like
our last.
I one
Go
one
ahead,
last
Zach.
comment on that. I remember back in the day, like back in 2010, I came home from work. I worked the night shift, and to get lost in a world like that, I remember the first Red Dead. Came home at like 8 o'clock in the morning, jumped on Red Dead just to like play some video games for a while, and I got lost for like 12 hours. And I was doggone tired, but I was wired because I just got lost in the world, and I did nothing in the game. I just played as John Marston, and I just hunted. I just went out into like the desert in the meadows of New Austin and just hunted deer and elk.
Wow.
And I did that straight for like 10. I did that for 10 hours straight. So there is a whole new world that people can escape to and build their own little niche of life, especially if they're depressed in real life. They can go and actually find that happiness. And there's a drawback. I mean, obviously, because you're escaping real life into a fictional virtual world, which has its negatives, but at the same time, it is helping people cope with their own realities in life.
But they're
by
not
escaping.
addressed by just escaping is just what the drugs are doing too. It's not addressing the root of the problem.
But then that's the Joey Pants argument from The Matrix. It's like, I know the steak is fake, but it tastes good.
Right.
It's
Right.
juicy.
Ignorance
it's
is
delicious.
bliss.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, last question. Reincarnation of a blockchain. I like this image, by the way.
That is a cool image.
Can the panel name or list blockchain projects that have successfully rebranded or reincarnated? And I told you that I would go first, and I did my research on this one. I wrote the question and created the answers. But here, I'm gonna go down a list for you. How about Darkcoin becomes Dash? How about Railblocks becomes Nano? AntShares becomes Neo. Paxos Standard becomes Pax Dollar. Binance Smart Chain becomes BNB Coin. The DAO, which was on ETH in 2016, had a $50 million hack, and it ended up creating a fail because they had raised, I think, 150 million or 120 million, and 50 million got hacked. BitConnect is a fail. There's no rebranding of BitConnect or resurrecting that. ETHLIN became Aave, right? And Matic Network became Polygon. So
I thought
these are all
Aave
examples.
became Maria.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Polygon was the biggest one I've seen.
Yeah.
Like
So
when they did that too, it was weird because the token is still MATIC.
yeah, it was really strange. But there's examples of rebranding, reincarnation of a blockchain, or changing its purpose or its utility, adding another utility that becomes a bigger utility than its initial utility, is another form of development enhancement. And you could say it's almost like a reincarnation of
every
of
layer
particular
2 is
project.
basically a rebrand of Optimism as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much every layer 2 is built on the Optimism platform.
Yeah, but It's definitely possible, and it gives
Little
you
tweaks here and there.
hope. There's discussion about Den.Social and the Matter token, and when we add we're in conversation and talks about adding its own video player, and maybe using BitTorrents or whatever, because it's already coded in there. It just never got turned on, and do we rebrand it? Do we become more of a video type streaming, social media app rather than
actually,
more
think
more
about
like
this.
yeah, it's
How
crazy.
many different platforms can you go on? Like, so if you open your centralized exchange, your stupid centralized exchange interface, because they control the interface between dollars and tokens completely right now.
Yeah.
You open that thing up, open your ETH wallet, and try to send it off chain, assuming you have that privilege because you've doxed the shit out of yourself, right? You can choose which chain you want to go to. Every
Right.
single one of those is technically a rebrand of ETH.
Yeah. How about you, Sean? Can you think of some that have been rebranded, or
Yeah,
want to talk about the ones I mentioned?
You mentioned a lot of the Ant Shares one was a really good one, because that was like dead. And then it went to Neo. It's now probably one of the biggest when it comes to China.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking like Blockbuster. Netflix
Oh,
came out, and it was like
yeah.
Netflix used to send movies through the mail, so they were trying to compete directly, and they're like, oh, also you can kind of stream that on this newfangled computery thing, and that killed it. That's what it was like. It was this little side project that they did, which changed the world. Now we have all these streaming services. Blockbuster is just a total thing of the past. And Blockbuster tried to jump in there, and they're like, we'll send you DVDs in the mail too. But it was too late, because then Netflix had moved on. It's like, no, that's passe now.
Yeah.
Can I give you a personal story on that real quick?
Blockbuster should have totally spent all that time developing a streaming platform and just skipped to competing the next generation.
But nobody knew.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like that's like he said. You come out with the
Some people
utility.
knew.
This is our project. Oh, also you can do
Just
this
nobody
too.
worked there.
And then it's like, well, wait, will you do this? Tell me more about this over here. Well, this is no big deal. This is just something we did to enhance this. This is the thing. I want more of this over here, and then everybody moves to that, and that's what you become.
Right. Real quick, Netflix story. So, I think it was 2003 or 2002. We signed up and we got our first DVDs in the mail, and we sent them back, and then we get another set. And when we got our second set, I was so impressed with this idea that I had to find a phone number, and I was calling them. I says, hey, how can I invest in this? This is going to be huge. And eventually I could see it going on the internet. I mean, this is going to be huge. How can I invest? And, it took me a while just to talk to an actual person, at Netflix. And they said, I'm sorry, sir, this is a private round. It was private investors, and it's not open to the public. Because I knew it was going to be huge. And
when did Netflix open up?
Right? But
yeah, they went public. Yeah, imagine if they went public earlier.
It's like, oh, all right. Sorry, Sean, I had to mention that. But that's a great point about a rebrand.
It was I remember, and everyone thought the idea was so stupid. Everyone's going to steal the DVDs. No one's, and it worked. We were all super excited when the new movies came in, and then they had more distribution points to where it was only like 24 hours from you sending in, 24 hours to get another video. And then it was like, well, waiting a day is actually easier than going to the video store and dropping it off and seeing people I don't want to see. And, it was
and you just can't get another one until you return the last one. So there's no stupid return deadline.
Yeah. And
no rewrite, no rewind fees.
No late fees. You don't have to rush to be there by 6 or whenever. So it was fun. It was different. I remember I bought stuff on the internet just to buy stuff on the internet. I didn't need it, didn't even really want it. I bought stuff that I remember I went on eBay just so I could say I bought this on eBay, It was like a joke. And then you find, I think the movie 12 Monkeys. I was like, these were $1 each. I bought like 11 copies of 12 Monkeys. I'm just giving people this
11
movie.
copies
Just,
of 12 monkeys. Why
it
didn't
was
you
a
get another
dollar.
one?
All right, Greg,
That's-
give me a list of blockchain projects that have successfully rebranded or
Oh,
reincarnated.
I didn't even say that. Packcoin.
Oh, I already did.
Packcoin. That was
Packcoin.
one.
Oh, cool.
Packcoin was in the toilet. I was running nodes. Fun story. I was running five nodes, and there was like $250,000 Packcoin each one. The valuation went down to where I shut the nodes down because I was only making. It was costing me $1.50 a month to run the nodes, and I was only making about $1. So I was like, this I'm not even going to sell it. And then to send them to an exchange to sell my 5 nodes for about $10, $12 or something. It was like $20. It wasn't worth it for me. So I just shut it down, forgot about it. Then I was logged out of CoinMarketCap. So I logged back in, and I logged back into the wrong account, an old account. And my portfolio was up like crazy. I'm like, why is this portfolio say I have this extra money? $15,000 in Packcoin.
I did
like,
think of
not
one
real.
more.
It had rebranded and what's it called? Whenever they redo the supply. So
They
my
rebased
coins
it.
were worth $15,000
Nice.
that were worth like literally $25 like 2 years before, a year before, that I just didn't sell them because it wasn't worth the time and effort to move them. So they're just sitting in the nodes on my computer. But the whole time, like, telling the kids, this isn't real. I said, something's going to happen. I'll send it, and it'll be like, oh, no, you've missed these old coins. Send it to the exchange. My supply had changed. It was like I had, $1.5 million, and now I had like, 400,000 or 300,000. I sold it. I was like, that actually happened. So, and then it was total rebrand. It worked. It was that was cool.
Yep.
Greg,
so
you're next.
One that I will.
Then we'll get
The-
into current events.
To go into the NFTs area and sort of into the virtual NFT worlds area, just real quick, I want to give a shout out to my friends over at Voxels, who rebranded successfully from Crypto Voxels in 2022.
Nice.
So
Nice.
easy rebrand there. But the neat thing about that is that world has been evolving steadily. It's a persistent virtual world, which is pretty neat. So
Cool. Zach Attack.
Move up.
All right. Andrew.
Oh man, I was just looking over the historical snapshot trying to see if I could find an example. I do know that it wasn't initially a crypto project, but they successfully converted. Well, it depends on how you call it, successfully. Converted BitTorrent as a protocol into a cryptocurrency. So I mean, when you buy out a project, yeah. So, and another thing is Flex USD used to only be on Bitcoin Cash, and then they forked it to another. They implemented another chain.
Wow.
So,
do you guys remember Shazam? Like one of those. It was one of those decentralized players that replaced Napster.
I vaguely
once they took them down.
yeah.
There's a token for those guys now.
Really?
That's funny.
Wow. Cool.
Or not Shazam. Shazam's the one that listens to music. They don't have a token yet. They need one though. Imagine generating an NFT anytime you had it listen to music. But
Hey, Zach, they got bottle caps.
They have bottle caps. I like bottle caps. I like bottle. I'm honestly when the grid shuts down.
Sarsaparilla or Nuka-Cola, which one?
Oh man, that's I'm gonna have to go with sarsaparilla. I like sarsaparilla.
Wow. Oh, I was gonna go with Nuka-Cola.
Get the star caps.
I mean, Nuka-Cola is more in abundance though. So if you want to get your bottle caps, but if I want to drink, it's gonna be sarsaparilla.
I have a case of Quantum.
Nice.
Is it cola flavored vape, Nuka-Cola?
Cool.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's probably cola. Cola tasted nuclear radiation.
All right. I think that does it for the portion of the show where we talk about blockchain questions related to the theme. Now it's current events. What's happening in the world? Who wants to open it up? We got 22
Dude.
minutes.
Damn.
Well, I
Damn.
mean the U.S. is flying nuclear B-52s.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just read that
I
like
thought we always
a couple
did.
days. Well,
I didn't know we.
in the,
Crypto world news. There's some good news. The Ripple case is now no longer under appeal. The
Yep.
SEC dropped it.
Dragon Chain's got to be next, buddy. Dragon Chain's
Dragon
got to be
Chain is
next.
coming soon.
Trump pissed
What-
a
you would
bunch of
think.
countries off that were like loosely connected in a weird way, and they're about to create a super country. Canada, Britain, New Zealand, Australia. I think that's it. Maybe one more, and
Become
combine
a
them
super
into
country like the EU.
no, like the United States.
You mean join the United States?
No, a British flag, but with the stars in the background. It's you look it up. It's called like Kanuckatan or something, and it's New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and Great Britain. That would revitalize Great Britain. Just all
would.
Yeah,
those
well,
resources, everything.
UK is broke. UK is
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah, the UK
So the
doesn't
British
have the
Empire is
imagination
trying to
or the
make a
courage for that
comeback.
kind of thing anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about them doing anything other than imploding.
I think Alberta will tell them to go F off.
I don't know.
I think
that's the big thing.
yeah.
However,
They
it's
can't
weird.
hack.
It's weird to think about Alberta
The kind of inflation they
now
have to
like
inflict.
controlling the world. Like if Alberta becomes a state, Canada falls, and it would
Yeah.
just fall in line and would have to become
I-
another state. Because there's
I
no
would
way.
not be surprised if Alberta becomes a state within the next 2 to 3 years.
So I would say I've been saying
Do you
that for a
think
few
that
months, and I said in
guys,
2
though,
years, and everyone's like, "You're crazy. That's not going to happen." I was like, "I'm telling you, dude."
The British government though doesn't control the Bank of England, so they can't inflate the supply without their buy-in. The question is, do you think the Bank of England is too owned by the Fed in order for that to ever succeed?
You mean too owned by the
don't get me
Rothschilds?
started on central banking.
Speaking,
I know, no, but it's like a weapon of war, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
It really
it's just
is.
that. It's a weapon of war. It's funding the endless wars. Andrew, what were you going to say?
I said, speaking of weapon of war here, throw that out there if you could, real quick. I think this is everybody's been talking about this, and just break the elephant in the room here.
To dime, and you say you belong to me, so ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy.
Oh yeah, current events. JFK stuff just came out.
Still,
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
guys read this shit? There was
I've
there
read
was
bits
so
and
much
pieces.
So I started from the back, and I'm working my way forward in their archive because I figured if they're hiding anything, it's in the reverse ordering of things.
It's gonna be in the
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless they were smart and did middle out, but
All right. Well,
But
all right,
the point I was going to make,
The
point I was
the only
point I was going to make
the only
is that
problem I have is they're still trying to play this narrative that lone gunmen, and now but the files are saying that Lee Harvey
here's what I'm
Oswald was
looking at. I gotta share this
I
with
don't
you guys.
I
I'm looking
don't
at the
know.
files differently. I'm looking them as ways to get inside information about how the CIA operates.
yes,
And
that's
totally
that's
yes.
where I was going.
Throughout it, if you pick a page, you can find things like active use of weird, obscure spellings of words, like Havana, Cuba being spelled with a B in the documents. What does that do to FOIA requests, right? Of course. This is exactly the sort of inside information that we need to be looking for today.
If
And I
you're
think this is going to
picking
teach
a
us a lot about what
page,
the CIA is
what
still doing
what
to
about
manipulate
no
us.
one's really talking about or making the comment of literally there's a one of the pages is that Kennedy sent something to Biden and said you are a traitor,
A traitor. Yeah.
and he signed it.
But it was
And but
1994.
that president said, "Oh, we don't want to release these papers right now because it could hurt some people."
Well, no, that
Someone's just
paper
putting
said
that 1 and 1 together and be like, look at this too. Nobody's doing that. Someone
but
should at least say
signature
that.
was but the signature was actually an investigation into a death threat against whoever the fuck, right? Because 1994 was the date on the signature.
A Kennedy signature?
Yeah, somebody who was not Kennedy, because Kennedy was dead, signed
Kennedy
Kennedy
was-
in 1994. That was what that document was about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
So somebody was calling Joe Biden a traitor under John Kennedy's signature in 1994.
I mean, they're not wrong.
No,
No,
but why was that in the Kennedy assassination files?
I'm guessing that it was a coded message. I'm guessing somebody
Yeah.
who he was actually making a shady deal with was trying to communicate with him without anybody knowing.
It's either, this is where I'm going to be nuanced on this. It could be that, or it could just be Trump, since this is the Trump administration and Biden. I mean, you have the narrative, Trump calling Biden this and that, right? It could also be a troll, and this
Yeah, it could
couldn't.
just be like some
And
random dude.
these may not even be part of the files. It could just
Right.
literally just be a troll on
Yeah.
Biden.
Another
Which I
interesting thing
wouldn't
about
put it
those
past
files,
Trump.
it's been 62 years, right? 62 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How many years did Pfizer want to hold off on giving anything? about,
75.
Yeah.
75.
So imagine how
yeah.
much further we'd still have to go to wait for all this stuff that they did give us, if this were about that, and they'd
I
actually
just-
gotten away with it.
Putting this on the screen just to kind of give you the 411 on the RFK files. So they're sequentially labeled, they're numerically ordered in a way, like, let's say that 52 through 54 has to do with Cuba, and maybe 59 through 63 has to do with Mexico City, and whatever. Well, the ones I got blacked out here are the ones that haven't been released and have just now been released. So people I know these files very well. They know that they need to look at number 60, for example. And so they're going to focus in on number 60 because that has to do with Mexico City. Did Oswald really go to Mexico City or not? And these kinds of things. Was he really a CIA asset or not? Was he really a communist or not? So they'll focus on this because there were 80,000 pages that were still supposed to be released. But having said that, they've only released about 50,000. So it's going to take us weeks to get back through and find out what's really in number 60.
Mhm.
But it goes even deeper than that, in that, did you know that the National Archive, these files are not just stored at one location. They're actually spread out around the United States. Part of these
Yes.
files might be in Dallas. Another section might be at Langley. Another section might be at the National Archives. And get another point. Donald Trump fired the National Archivist person.
Probably
Yes.
Because
that
that person was
lied.
also involved in the
Mhm.
planting of documents that were falsified at Mar-a-Lago. So we don't have an actual person who's in charge of this. Roger Stone, who wrote a book about it, and not the video guy, the person who was part of the Nixon administration and beyond, he knows these files inward, backwards, and forwards. He knows what should be contained in, say, 67 or 67, or what should be contained probably in number 58 and 59. And he needs
Yeah.
to be on this. And he's saying that there's been so much time too that the CIA and others have already gone in and altered or changed these. Or what they do is they photocopy and photocopy and photocopy and photocopy. So now it's harder to read, and you got to go to the actual source original document, which might be stored in Houston, and you're
Yep.
looking at a copy that's in
Yep.
in Fort Worth, and it's a mess. It's obfuscation at its best.
Part of the
And
problem
what's
with
it- what's
the
to say?
classification system is the atrophy of information over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's to say that these blacked out documents don't have anything to talk about CIA, Chicago mob
Right.
alignment?
There's also
because the
no-
Chicago
there's also no
mob
chain of custody,
wanted
right?
Kennedy dead.
Definitely.
We
I
don't, see
did
we
see-
don't have a chain of custody, right? This is where blockchain can
Yeah.
be powerful. Is like
Bingo.
the
Yes.
fact that
Yes.
they did all of these submissions and gave us a complete looking record. There's no averment at the beginning and the end. that says this is where this particular collection ended or began, right? So they
Right.
could just leave whole documents out, and there'd be no way to verify it. And even if they attested that they had chain of custody and showed us those records, those too could be falsified unless they were on chain.
Yes.
There was a image I saw floating around yesterday, I think it was, and they were talking about how Russia had tried to warn the government of the United States about Oswald, but then it also said at the bottom that it was retranscribed a conversation. So how do you know it's even true?
Well, that's been going on for a long time. That the Soviet Union actually tried to warn about Oswald.
No, I know. I'm just
is
saying,
that real?
They,
though?
not Oswald. They just knew that there was a possible assassination.
Yeah.
Now that
a
said,
mole rather.
Right.
It bears saying though about these files though and their authenticity. I don't think that this implicates the will of Donald Trump and Pam Bondi to do the will of the American people, right? I don't think it's really about that. I think it's more like they're also being bamboozled by a system that is designed to bamboozle.
I think it's a distraction because if you notice the release of the JFK files, we're now starting to bomb Yemen, and we're really on the precipice of going to war with Iran.
And
so
we've also got like we also have the powder keg for civil war right at home right now, and they're not talking. There's a fucking fire,
which is being pushed
that I could see from my fucking driveway last night, because I happened to live close by a Tesla service center. It got hit.
I don't like about that. I wanted to talk about that. Bring it up to you guys. Is that the Tesla thing? Now,
the video, by the way, that I put in the chat.
The comment when he said these people are domestic terrorists.
But
I got chills, and no, they're not.
Dude, no,
January
by definition,
6th people weren't.
January 6th are not terrorists.
They're that's
they're retards,
thing,
but they're not terrorists.
That's the thing, dude. Yeah. It's the same thing. There's laws in place. No, it's not actually. You arrest these people. These people are being arrested for felony.
I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the fact that it's being financed and organized, and they're doing it for a political reason.
That's
the
like
problem is it's targeted political.
There's already laws. This reminds me of there's a shooting. Let's ban guns.
But this is actually what terrorism laws originally were for, literally.
Okay, but
violence for a political purpose.
If it's whatever party's involved, it's the expansion of government. Anytime that
attacking random people
is used, I get nervous. And to say that, hey, this is a hate crime, or dude,
they're attacking random people. No, you don't know why a fucking guy's got a Tesla, right? Or how they feel about Elon Musk.
Yeah,
maybe it's the car they can afford, or the one they just wanted because they like how it is.
That so many of these people bought Teslas because they were on the left. They were super left-leaning. Everyone needs to own EVs, or else they were people that were
firebombing and severely vandalizing people's cars.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
These people they need to go to work and live their lives.
January 6th people should have been arrested for vandalism.
They're doing it for a fucking political purpose. It's fucking terrorism.
For that kind of stuff. The same thing. These people are being arrested for felony vandalism and for felony charges. That's fine, dude. Arrest them, make them pay, make them go to jail. The laws are there. You don't need to expand government to where they get extra power.
This is not about giving them more power. This is about using the laws we already have to enforce them.
But classifying certain things as a hate crime or as a terrorist activity, that
but
changes
this is the classical
game.
Definition of terrorism. They could use the 1970 law for this.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna side with Sean.
They could use 1799's Alien and Seditions Act. I mean, which they are.
Yeah. That's where I was getting ready to go. I'm gonna side with Sean in that there are already laws on the books, and yes, it's a RICO, and yes, it's political. Yes, it's politically funded. Yes, however, to then classify it as terrorism, now we're throwing people in Guantanamo Bay.
We're going I'm talking about the people funding it.
Hold on, Greg. We're going to throw them in Guantanamo Bay. They're not going to have a trial. They're going to be locked up indefinitely. They're not going to have a jury by their peers. There's not even going to be a trial. That's what the terrorism portion could be. So now a CIA is going to come in and kidnap you and take you to Guantanamo Bay for keying someone's car. I don't like it. I don't condemn the idea of this, but that's the
keying someone's
difference
car
of
is
the
Well, that's,
keying
terrorism
someone's car is
of
not the
the
case I'm talking about
application of the
here.
enforcement of the
Yeah.
law. And I don't.
Well,
I'm
I'm
not
talking about
for
the
that.
people
Yeah, I think-
setting fires using accelerants is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
one I'm talking about when I'm saying terrorism.
Well,
Dude,
Right,
there's
I'm not
already
talking about
great
the
laws
cars.
for that, dude.
Keying cars is
Yeah.
petty crime.
I'm
This is-
to
talking
your
about that
point, though,
too.
William.
I'm talking about that too, Greg. Yes, that's not right.
To
They're
both-
using incendiary
yeah.
devices to create these things. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Zach.
To both your points on that scenario, it's not like precedent isn't being created right now with Trump's immigration policy or what he's what he's filed his executive actions on with the immigration and deportation, opening up the potential of opening up Guantanamo Bay to detainees that are to be deported, illegal immigration. What happens when that ends up expanding? Because that's just opening up for the next administration or even Trump's administration right now in the future. But that's opening up to the next administration to use it for regular American citizens, which obviously we've been doing anyways under Obama and Bush.
Imagine if all
anyways,
that
but-
power
Right,
was
I guess
already,
that's my
imagine
point
if all those
is-
cans of worms were open during the pandemic. And
I
then
guess
that
my point
All right,
is
here-
this: is
go ahead,
we
go
already
ahead.
have.
I mean,
the
there's
mechanism in
no-
place.
Hold on, let Greg
Yeah.
answer this.
Yeah.
My point, we already have the mechanism in place, and it is designed to do this horribly unjust thing, and it has a chance to one time actually do justice if we use it the way that it was designed. It already applies. We have a chance to stop this by making one example of one person, and it might be fucking harsh, but if we put a harsh penalty to this activity, it will cease, and the left will lose its ability to influence using paid violence and paid rioting.
But
It-
then,
it
Greg,
will
what's
shut
going to
that
happen
down.
is in 4 years, you're going to get a different president who's going to now go after someone who drives a Chrysler.
They're going to do that anyway.
And
Gavin
in 4 years
Newsom.
from now, someone who drives a Ford or whatever. I just think that
My point is they're going to
just
do it
stick with the
anyway.
laws that are on the books rather than use
Right.
terrorism laws on U.S. citizens like that.
Yeah.
I
Domestic.
hate
And
to
I'm
break
not
it to you
talking
guys,
about- I'm
but
not
with
talking
the
about
with
using
the with the way
rendition
that
shit, you know,
with the way that everything is happening so rapidly now under Trump and the precedents that are being set with his executive orders, and the way that Gavin Newsom has actually been able to propel himself, and now he has his podcast. I think the Trump precedent is setting up for a Gavin Newsom ticket in 2028, which is even more scary.
that is true. And I'll
It's
give
a
you guys
soft
that,
power
but-
versus hard power situation because, it's like Greg said, William said, every 4 years, right? That's the soft power. It's this constant revolving door, and it's like they did in the Soviet Union, which is hard power. Is that there was a hard border you couldn't leave, and every time that you had made a political statement, they would bring two people in to drown you out. And the soft power is it's not so much that you're being drowned out; it's that they're slowly moving people in because they say, "Oh well, we'll change it down the road." And
Sounds like White Army
Donald Trump
versus
is
Red Army.
Donald Trump is concentrating it because he's working on closing the border, which means that we're going to be back in the situation like we were, not us, but the people in Russia where
Like
you
East
don't
Germany.
have any choice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this thing as a comedian, which comedians, they've been the arbiters of truth for the past decade at least. Andrew Schultz
Except for Bill Burr.
Nescafe went to this marketing firm. It's like, hey man, we want to bring coffee to Japan, Asia. They don't care. We can't get a foothold. He's like, hey, you can't do it. You should, they're tea. You're not tea. You're coffee. He's like, here, what you're going to do? You're going to pump a couple $1 million into a cartoon, and then you're going to come out with a candy, Kit Kat. You're going to pump coffee flavored candy into those kids along with this cartoon. 10 years from now, they're going to love that taste, remember that taste, and go back to that nostalgia. That's when you come in with the coffee. It's going to take you 10 to 15 years. They did it.
Yeah.
They just opened the largest Starbucks in the world in Japan.
Well, I mean, KFC, they created an artificial holiday just like we have Thanksgiving here, but it's just KFC in Japan. It's a holiday.
That's great.
They sit down just like in the United
Here,
States.
Like
Greg,
Valentine's Day.
we got just about 2 more minutes in this topic, but Greg, here's your
Oh yeah,
your
this is
video.
funny. You guys are gonna like this. You gotta have the sound on for this one. You can't not play the sound.
Okay.
I think we'll be safe.
Yeah, there's no sound if you don't put it on a different browser.
Oh.
There's no sound.
Hmm.
But
Oh,
you can
listen,
see it's an
it's
app.
got great music, and there's this female voice behind it that makes the whole thing funny. It's like Tesla. You guys gotta see it.
White House Tesla Automo commercial. Look it up on YouTube.
Everything's confused,
Who knew that Donald Trump was a car salesman?
right?
Donald Trump.
You gotta come down to White House Auto Mall.
They change it to Tesla at the end.
That's funny. That's
The
hilarious.
funny thing is
Auto
the left made that to be mean, and it ended up being one of the better Tesla ads I've ever seen.
Well, they you know what they say about the left and memeing.
Yeah.
Right? They can't.
They can't. Yeah.
Well, now they can, but they've got to the point of self-parody. They make memes, but they're all right-wing memes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up early just because I want to give you enough time to give your spiel on what's new in your world and how people can reach out and find you and what's up and coming in your media world. So we'll go with Sean, Greg. We'll circle around back to me. What's up, Sean?
Check out my channel. Tuesday, hopefully we'll be back with me and Michael and Lisa doing True Tuesdays. We've had just crazy stuff going on. I was the doctor this Tuesday. She had birthdays and doctor's appointments and stuff, so we've been slacking. Yeah, that's about it for now. I have some interviews coming up. Cool. Hope to see you guys.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Greg, what's happening
All right,
in your
so,
world, in your matrix?
So in my world right now, I've just been focused on trying to do a whole bunch of stuff that I can't really talk about. But needless to say, we have really cool Dragon Chain news coming soon, and we have some really cool Rivet news coming soon, and we have some really cool future of decentralized infrastructure news coming soon. But I can't talk about any of it yet. But I am talking about a lot of other stuff, and trying to share decent tips to people to get ready for what's to come, because it's still going to be fucking crazy. Even if it's good, it's going to be chaotic. And yeah, so that's what I'm up to. Check it out.
And where can they follow you, Greg?
At Design Heretic. That's all one word.
All right. Zach Kaiser.
We got the legacy right, weekly legacy, which we did not do last week. We may not do the weekly legacy this week. I think we're starting a new series that dives into psychology, vices, virtue, the psychology of human actions. So we did Vices Are Not Crimes, which you can find on our Legacy Right channel.
That was very
all over the
interesting.
podcast.
Very interesting, by the way. I've talked about it with like
John.
a bunch of people.
Yeah, thank you. So I think this Friday we're probably going to start around noonish because Andrew has some things to do. Probably try to run at least, hopefully, an hour, not further. But you know how we go. And we're going to dive into St. Thomas Aquinas and fall in line with the idea of subjective theory of value and what his idea is. And then from there, we're going to go into a series where we're going to start reading this book, and which is about the Enneagram on the Christian perspective. And so that's next on our itinerary. So don't miss
Nice.
the Legacy Right tomorrow around noon, live
Nice.
on X, YouTube, and then anywhere that you find your podcast after we get done with our live.
Anybody who needs a copy of that book that wants to read along with them should definitely check out Library Genesis. You can get
Library
a copy
Genesis,
there.
Library Genesis.
If you can find it, I don't know. I
there.
went to a monastery and bought me and Andrew our copy. So, but you could probably find it. If you can't find it on Library Genesis, I obviously there's Amazon, obviously there's like thrift books, there's all sorts of different places that you can probably find it if you want a hard copy.
Cool.
Look
Andrew.
it up on Big Words. Big Words is like a reverse search engine. You put in the ISBN and you can get the cheapest copy of a new or used copy of the book. But next week we are continuing our legacy legacy news, and
As
I'm
always.
looking forward to next Crypto Wednesday. We're going to keep talking about breaking Monero and watching the video and just kind of looking it over with everybody. So enjoying that series.
I guess I'm next then. Well, where you find me is obviously Den.Social. See that? Den.Social. I am for I am. And I'm also on X. I am for I am we, like WE. There you go. So you can follow me on X. There is a new Den.Social video that just dropped on the Den.Social YouTube channel. And it's yours truly, the Emperor of Den.Social, talking about what makes Den.Social unique. And I essentially described it as you take blockchain and you take social media and then you take predictive markets and you combine them all together, and that's what you have. You have a social media site that becomes a prediction market on every post. And a prediction market obviously rewards the winner who gets it right. So that's what Den.Social is. So if you want to learn more about that, check out that video. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. There is a 2:00 meeting at for Den.Social on the DinDAO today, and starting in a couple hours. So that is the latest, I think, on Den.Social. So if you got some more event information, or information about current events, post it there, and we can all comment. This has been a great show. Congratulations to all those who have come before us for 200 episodes, all of those that will go on into the future for 200 more. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you. I thank you for being here and celebrating this 200th episode together. And with that,
likewise.
I have one question for you. With this being the 200th episode, Joe not being here, are you taking claim to the entire podcast?
I want you to understand. Joe prophesied what was going to happen this week. Remember last week when he said, "Beware of the Ides of March." Just saying.
Yep.
No, Joe, be safe out there. We know you're enjoying family vacation time. Be safe.
Mm-hmm.
We will see you next week, my friend. Until then, John McAfee will lead us out.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.